All right, what is going on, everyone? And welcome in to the TSF GamePlan show presented by TriStateFootball.com. My name is Safwan Alvi. I will be your host, and I am joined by my partner, TriState Football partner, my friend. His name is Brandon Lampley. And again, we're from TriStateFootball.com, talking all things high school football in Southwest Ohio, Eastern Indiana, and Northern Kentucky. And Brandon, we're going to get into a lot of stuff today. But come on, it is week one. Football is back in the tri-state area. We're all summer fans, right? We all like summer, but when fall rolls around, there's just a different amount of energy. There's a different amount of excitement. And we are here, week one. The wait is over. Kickoff again is just in under 48 hours. And what we're going to do is talk about some of the big games coming up on Friday night, the week one games to kick off our season, right? We got rivalry games, ranked matchups all over the place, right? We got a lot to get into. And as we go through the season, we'll continue, to kind of knock out some games and talk more about some players, again, coaches, all that great stuff. But Brandon, how are you, excited for this football season and just good to be back?
Yes, sir. Feeling good. Great to be back. You can smell it in the air when it gets to this time of year. And I know everybody out there is just excited as we are to get it going. So, yeah, very excited.
Absolutely. Again, anywhere you can find us, be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms, right? Twitter and Instagram at TS Football. Again, that's at TS Football. And you can also listen to the TriStateFootball.com podcast. Anywhere you get your podcast, just search up TriStateFootball.com. And again, you can search for us on Facebook as well, TriStateFootball.com. And again, it's week one, so we're excited to get this season rolling. And Brandon, without further ado, let's get into some of these games. And we got to talk about the big teams, the big games happening this weekend, starting off with the game that will actually happen on Saturday, right? So this one is just about 72 hours away. Number 4, ranked Princeton, right? The Princeton Vikings coming in at number 4 in our Blitz 5 top 25, taking on number 2 Moeller, right? The Crusaders coming off of a Division I state championship appearance where they unfortunately did not win, lost against Olentangy Liberty. But these teams, Brandon, playing for the fourth time, dating back to 2021. And Moeller is undefeated in these meetings. They played twice last year. Moeller won both of those games. Tell me what you're looking forward to in this big matchup between these two juggernauts.
Well, yeah, a lot of excitement for these two programs. Great rivals from all the way back to the 70s and 80s when we had Jerry Faust and Pat Mancuso going at it. And they've kind of renewed that rivalry here in the last few years. But obviously, looking forward to seeing quarterback Matt Ponatoski go at it in his senior year. Picked up a lot of awards, last year. Been having a great summer. Ranked very high as a quarterback. So I'm interested to see how he approaches his senior year, uses those weapons around him to see if Moeller can, get back to where they want to go. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard not to mention the quarterback battle, right? Because both of the quarterbacks, that were there last year, Matt Ponatoski, a name that everybody knows, nationwide, and then D'Angelo Birch, right, from Princeton, who's coming back for his, senior season. Ponatoski, we know, won Mr. Ohio football last year. As you mentioned, he threw for over 4,100 yards, 56 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 70% completion percentage. I mean, just stupid numbers, right? And at the end of the day, we kind of know what to expect from him, right? He's going to be great, and I expect him to be great. This is going to be big on D'Angelo Birch, and I think that Princeton defense, this is a team that really prides itself on defense under head coach Andre Parker, right? And they gave up 38 points in the first matchup last year in their opening day, and that is not Princeton-style football. So defense is going to be big, right? Taking care of the football. Birch had a decent amount of turnovers last year, right? Moeller's replacing some receivers. There's, again, lot to look forward to. D'Angelo Birch had 10 interceptions last year and also had a couple of fumbles. If you want to beat a team like Moeller, you're going to have to take care of the football, right? You're going to have to play a clean game. And to Princeton's side, it is week one, so there probably is going to be some jitters, as there will be through majority of these games. But again, Ponatoski, a lot to replace, right? Moeller's replacing their top 2 wide receivers in GCL South yardage-wise. Matthew Fogler's gone. Javon Love is gone. And even on the defensive side, Roman Mason is gone, right? He led the GCL South in interceptions. So is there any other players you're looking forward to in this game, Brandon? Any newcomers or, someone who might be catching your eye outside, of course, of the quarterbacks?
Well, and speaking of the quarterbacks a little bit, I'm very interested in a quote unquote tight end battle. I think we got two of the better tight ends in the area going at it. Um, with Moeller, they have tight end Cooper McCutcheon. He's back again. Great threat, big target in the red zone, can run after the catch. And with Princeton, kind of similar, they have Landon Myrie. He is an Arizona State Sun Devil commit. And I think that'll be a great, even though they won't be matching up against each other, that'll be a great couple of players to look at and see how they perform, and could go a long way in determining a winner. On the defensive side of the ball, you spoke of Andre Parker. Well, how about his son, Andre Parker Jr. at the linebacker position for Princeton? He might be matched up a lot with Cooper McCutcheon, and definitely trying to stop the run of Tyler Jocelyn and maybe pressuring the quarterback as well. So those are some three guys there that I'm really looking forward to seeing how they perform as well.
Yeah, absolutely. This game is going to be happening Saturday at West Claremont, right? West Claremont. And again, Princeton losing a decent amount as well on defense. They lost first team all-state linebacker PJ Nelson, right? He led the GMC in tackles last year with 149. And they also lost Shelvin Hibbett, who also led the GMC with 14 and a half sacks. So again, this is going to be a big defensive kind of showdown, and how much better to do it than one of the best teams in the entire state in Moeller. So it should be a very fun and interesting game. And just who do you got as a prediction, my man? You got Moeller winning? You got Princeton winning?
Well, my best bet on this one would be to go with the flow of what's been happening. I'm going to go with the Moeller Crusaders in a close one.
Absolutely. Week 1. And again, Princeton trying to break that 0-1 streak, 0-3 against the Crusaders since 2021. And we'll see what happens on opening night here in just a few days. All right, Brandon, I do want to kick it to the next game because we got a little interstate matchup, right? We got a big juggernaut from NKY and a juggernaut from Ohio. Both teams coming off, unfortunately, a state title game appearance, but a loss. And I am talking about number 8 Cooper from Northern Kentucky. They are coming to the east side, and they are going to be taking on number 5 Anderson. Again, as I just mentioned, both teams were in the state championship game. Anderson in Division II. And then talking about Cooper, they were in Class 5A. They lost to Bowling Green. So, Brandon, tell me about what you're seeing from this game. We know Anderson is losing a lot of firepower on offense, right? They're losing Justice Burnham, who had over 4,100 yards, 40 touchdowns. Darrell Turner, right? He led the league with 1,200 rushing yards, 26 touchdowns. Trace Jalek is gone, right? Had over 1,900 yards and 20 touchdowns. So tell me what you're seeing with this Anderson team and kind of what they're bringing back, and what are you looking forward to?
Well, with Anderson, which will sound a little off kilter than usual, I expect their defense to be a huge part of their success this year, as it was last year. I think they end up getting a lot of separation from teams last year because their defense kind of took the next jump. And guys like Antoine Higgins and Ace Alston are on that side of the ball, and they will be able to hold teams down and to sort of let that offense kind of get their feet wet to start. Like you said, a lot of inexperience. It looks as though Owen Scoff will be the starting quarterback this year. His brother was the quarterback a couple of years ago, so he kind of has that in him. But it's going to be a process, to get him up to speed. The way Coach Dreyer likes to play, the audibles, making the reads. So I think that defense will be the key for them early on in the season.
Yeah. And as the times have changed for Anderson, right, they've always been an offensive juggernaut. That's really kind of what we've known, 35, 40 points. That's kind of who they've been. But the defense stepping up, has turned them into a state championship contender. And now talking about their counterpart over in Northern Kentucky, right, the Cooper Jaguars. coming off of a Class 5A state championship game where they lost for the second consecutive season to Bowling Green. Right, they finished 14-1. Their only loss coming in that state championship game. And the big thing for Cooper, Brandon, is Cam O'Hara is coming back. Right, their quarterback is coming back. Right, their heart, their soul. A lot of experience right there with that quarterback. Anything stick out to you for Cooper? Going on these runs, to the state championship back-to-back years. Could this be a year, that they finally win it, or hopefully get back?
This could be a year, and it will rely heavily upon Cam O'Hara and his performance throughout the season, which, we can expect to be great as it's been for his entire career. I think maybe the key to their team and their offense will be running back Keegan Maher, who's also been there as a starter for several years, and he's going into his senior year as well. And I feel like if he has one of those big seasons to kind of take the load off of O'Hara, so to speak, that'll really, really bring Cooper to the next level and hopefully be able to get over that hump. So it'll definitely be a great game on Friday night. Expect a lot of offense, and whoever can, get those key stops, I think will have a chance. Well, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Week one, there's always going to be some jitters, and I do think Anderson's offense is going to be good. It is going to take some time with Justice Burnham being gone. I 100% agree with Anderson's defense. Guys like Antoine Higgins, those guys on the defensive side of the ball, they're going to be a big factor this year. And Cooper, again, with Cam O'Hara coming back, their heart, their soul, their offense, it's going to be a really good game. My gut is telling me Anderson with the home field advantage, right? Again, they're not traveling super far. It is Northern Kentucky, but Anderson, coming off that state championship appearance, I love what Anderson's doing right now as a program, right? Head coach, gosh, it's not even coming to me, the head coach.
Evan Dreyer.
Evan Dreyer. Yes, Evan Dreyer. I was about to say Dyer. Evan Dreyer. Love what he's doing over there at Anderson. Again, it's going to be a great game. Very, very close game, I expect. And I do want to jump to the next one, right? Going straight to Northern Kentucky with this one, my man, right? Another top 10 matchup, right? Number 9 Ryle going to number 10 Covcath, right? These are two juggernauts in Northern Kentucky, right? Another Northern Kentucky team that was in the state championship last year, right? Ryle was in the 6A state championship game. They did lose to Louisville Trinity. And the main thing, Brandon, for Ryle is they have their quarterback and running back duo coming back this year, right? They got Nathan Varax, or Varix, if I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. And then, of course, running back Jacob Savage, right? And Brandon, that's what's going to be really their heart and soul, right? They're really going to rely on those two guys with the experience that they have to hopefully get them back to a state championship game.
Yes, a lot of experience on the offensive side of the ball for Ryle. Jacob Savage, really the heart and soul of that team, both offensively and defensively as a middle linebacker. Indiana University commit Jacob Savage. Just a real bruiser in the running game and a big hitter on the other side of the ball. And, of course, Nathan Varax had a great breakout season last year in his first year as a starter. Kind of opened some eyes, I think, of a lot of people. Following his brother, Logan, I believe it was, from a couple of years ago, and really opened some eyes and was really the key to them reaching that 6A state title game last year with the big plays and big passes he made in big games. So Ryle looking very good early, and they'll be in for a good battle. They'll go into Park Hills.
Absolutely. And remember last year when they played, right, first game of the season, Ryle won that game 30-14, right? Their offense was great. Their defense was great. And that was a tone setter, right? They had a great season. And when you can beat Covcath by multiple scores, put up 30 points, that's going to be a tone setter. And I think that really helped Ryle throughout their season, right? They went on to play in the state championship game. Again, lost to Louisville Trinity. But when you won that game and, going to the other side of the ball, Eddie Evanstings, Covington Catholic Colonels. I say that 5 times fast, right? Covington Catholic Colonels, right? They bring back some big, returners. But one thing they did, one of the most historic wins we've had, Brandon, in the tri-state area last year, was when Covington Catholic beat Boyle County right over in the quarterfinals. They beat them 31 to 28 in Class 4A. At that time, Boyle County was a nationally ranked team, 32 games won in a row going into that Covington Catholic game in the semifinals, 4 consecutive state titles, and Covington Catholic, right, dethroned the Kings. I think that's a big kind of step. That's a win that, we'll talk about for 10, 20, 30 years. And in terms of Covington Catholic, Cash Harney's back on the offense. Owen Pitzer's back for the defense. Talk to me about the Colonels and what you like about them.
Love Cash Harney. He is an electric player at the quarterback position, can really keep plays alive, make unorthodox passes when his feet are not set, when he's on the run, and also a great runner as well from the quarterback. And I'm a big fan of Dylan Geiser as well, returning running back. And kind of similar to Ryle, they have that quarterback running back duo coming back. And I think Geiser is one of the more underrated running backs in the area. Can really get to his spots, hits holes well, and has speed that I think people don't truly realize, until they get out there with him. So, and of course, Owen Pitzer on the defensive end. And I think he plays a little offense as well. But yeah, I believe they have a great team. And like I said before, just a big time battle coming up on Friday at CovCath.
Yeah, absolutely. And then for CovCath, their main thing, they've been a defensive team, right? You're like, their heart and soul has always been in the defense, going all the way back to even, when Michael Mayer was there just a couple of years ago back in, 2019, their last state championship victory. If CovCath gets it together on defense and they become that dominant, stout defensive team, the offense always kind of tends to follow. And Eddie Evanston in big games, there's not many more coaches in this, whole entire tri-state area that you want coaching a big game than Coach Eddie Evanston, right? Just an absolutely solid coach. And I think CovCath is in for another great year. And it's going to be a fun matchup, a top 10 Ryle and Covington Catholic going at it in week 1. All right, my man, I want to jump to the next game. And for everyone listening, we appreciate you listening. This is the TSF GamePlan show. Safwan, Alvi, and Brandon Lampley previewing week 1 of the tri-state area, right? We're excited because football is back, all right? Talking all things high school football in the tri-state area. I want to jump back into Ohio now, right? Some Southwest Ohio football, right? A top 25 matchup between the Baden Rams, right? Baden coming in at 23 in the Blitz 5 top 25, taking on Hamilton, right? The Big Blue from the GMC coming in at number 12, right? And there's a lot to dive into, Brandon, with this matchup, especially with Baden coming off of a, I guess, down year, as you would say. They did make it to the playoffs, but they only won one playoff game last year. The only time they haven't won multiple playoff games, that was in 2018, was the last time they did not win 2 or more playoff games. So tell me what you're seeing with Baden, and you think they get back to their success of a deep playoff run.
Yeah, Baden, well, they're going to be a great team. They're going to be physical. They're going to be disciplined. And I do expect them to get back to later into the playoffs this year. They are dropping back down to Division III this year. But even if they were to stay up in Division II, I think they would have a good chance. And I think a lot of their success relies on a solid defense and a big-time running game. And I think that running back Lem Grayson will have a breakout season. I expect him to maybe rack up some more offers and things of that nature this year as that true featured back with a year of experience under his belt as a featured back. So I expect a lot of physical football out of Baden on both sides of the ball. And in a crosstown showdown, so to speak, they're going to want to be out there sending a message, and I think that'll be how they try to do so, with a physical attack.
Yeah, you mentioned Lem Grayson coming back for his senior year, right? Had 860 rushing yards last year with 11 touchdowns. Colt Emerson is back, looking to take a major leap in his senior year. And for Hamilton, not to mention these two teams have played back-to-back years. And how about this? Shutouts, both teams winning, right? Shutouts, both teams winning. In 2023, Baden won 18-0. Last year, Hamilton won the opener 15-0, right? So if you're expecting defense, this is probably a game that you're going to have to watch, right? In Hamilton, they lost a lot of players, right? They're going to rely on a lot of youth, right? Superstar running back Grayson Goldsmith comes to mind, right? He led the GMC in rushing yards, over 1,700, 24 touchdowns. They lost Trey Verdon, who had 11 sacks, so obviously second in the GMC. And of course, quarterback Antonio Mathis is gone as well. But Brandon, I love head coach Kylie Jones. I think he's a great coach. We saw what he did with Withrow a couple of years ago, right? Got them to the playoffs, taking over for Hamilton, right? Yeah, now
he's
week 2.
At Middletown.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I said Hamilton, not Hamilton. Yeah, Middletown. Excuse me. Yes, not Hamilton. Close GMC foe. Yes, again, losing Grayson Goldsmith, losing Trey Verdon, right? Hamilton has a lot, to kind of make up for, right? Especially losing 2 excellent players. But I think this is a team that got better as the year went on, right? And I think these young guys are going to have to step up, and I think they will.
Yeah, Hamilton had one of their best seasons in program history a year ago, winning the playoff game, maybe for the first time in history, first or second. But as you said, they lost a lot: quarterback, running back, receiving core. Lost a lot on defense. And they also lost the one of the leading tacklers in the GMC the last couple of years, CJ Bryant, who actually transferred over to Middletown, transferred to a rival. So another big loss there. They returned some defensive guys up front in Eckley Bridges and Mason Holbrook, who is a Miami University commit. I expect those guys to try to hold it down here early. And I think Hamilton would love to see a lot of 10-7, 15-0 games early on to try to get that young quarterback and those skill players who are inexperienced up to speed. And hopefully that defense, which Arby Crouch has been known to have tough defenses, will hold them down here for the first couple weeks.
Absolutely. And again, my apologies. Arby Crouch, yes, is the head coach of Hamilton. Kylie Jones is over at Middletown. Jones coached at Woodward, right? Then he was coaching at Withrow, took him on that deep playoff run before he went up to Middletown. A lot to look forward to in that Hamilton-Baden game. We'll see if we can get a shutout for the 3rd consecutive game. It's going to be hard to do that, but with these 2 teams, right, we'll see what happens. Again, 2 teams to really look forward to during the season. And a lot of these best bets, you can read them on TriStateFootball.com. My man Brandon wrote them himself. So again, TriStateFootball.com for all the best bets every single week. And Brandon, before we get out of here talking about week 1, I do want to kind of rattle off some games, some of the real big games happening around the tri-state area. And again, we can't talk about every game happening because we would be here for 3 hours, right? So any other games you want to follow, again, be sure to follow our Twitter page at TriStateFootball.com, TS Football. But a couple games that I kind of had in mind, the big one that's obviously hanging over the head, St. X versus Lakota West, right? That game preview is on TriStateFootball.com, written by our very own Greg Shoemaker. And Brandon, these guys, these are 2 of the best teams in Southwest Ohio. St. X is senior laden, right? They have Daniel Vollmer, one of the best players in the entire tri-state area, right? Running back, quarterback, tight end, whatever you want them. And then Lakota West, head coach Tom Bolden and Steve Specht. They played each other about 150,000 times, it seems like, every single year. And one of the really quality matchups in week 1.
Oh, yeah. Expect a close, physical, rugged game when these 2 teams match up, and one that can go either way. Wherever that ball can bounce in a crunch time situation, that team will get the advantage. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Daniel Vollmer. Like you said, jack of all trades player, a plug and play. You put him anywhere on the field and he will be successful. On the defensive end for St. X, Jacoby Clapper, big time defensive end, outside linebacker, wherever they put him, really causes a disruption and destruction on the defensive side of the ball. Dakota West, they lost a lot of guys last year. I think they'll maybe have a slow start, but you never know in this game. You never know. If I had to pick, I think I would take Saint X by a field goal.
Yeah, absolutely. These teams have played each other for 3 consecutive years now. Actually, 4, going back to 2021. Every single game, except for one time in 2021, every team, St. X and Lakota West, every game, they've scored under 20 points, right? In 2021, St. X put up a 30-piece, right? That was it. Outside of that, Lakota West has not put up more than 20 points yet in this series. So, again, it's week 1. Expect a lot of defense. Like you said, field goal, turnover, penalties, that's going to be the difference in a game like that. That's going to be at Balaban Field over at St. X. And another team and another program and game I'm looking forward to, Brandon, is Colerain, right? The Colerain Cardinals, right? They just got brand new head coach Jordan Stevens, right? Came over from Mont Healthy. Colerain coming off easily the roughest and toughest stretch of their, high school programs, maybe history, right? They did not win a game last year and were not competitive in most of their games last year. But here comes head coach Jordan Stevens. Mont Healthy made it to the playoffs last year, won a couple of games as well. I'm really looking forward to this Colerain LaSalle matchup. They have played a lot. LaSalle has won majority of those games. A 2 or 3 game winning streak off the top of my head, if I'm not mistaken. LaSalle has a 3-game winning streak in this series, but it's very interesting to see how Colerain responds because high school football is always better and more competitive when the Colerain Cardinals are doing better.
I agree. And Coach Stevens, a great coach coming over from Mount Healthy, had a lot of success. And I know he is trying to build a culture there, a new culture that, that builds into the old culture as well with the Kerry Coombs and guys of that nature that have come through there in the past. Might still be an uphill battle. Things, often don't change very, very quickly. But if I know Coach Stevens, he'll get that program on track. As for LaSalle, always a tough team. And again, they have won 2 or 3 straight, as you said, over Colerain, over their rival. And they're replacing a lot as well. New quarterback. And but I think they might have a little more firepower this early in the season. I would expect them to get a victory on Friday.
No, absolutely. The Battle of Cheviot Road, as they call it, right? Colerain and LaSalle separated by just a couple miles. So these teams are very familiar with each other, have been playing each other for, decades at this point. Should be a very fun and interesting game. And another one I really want to quickly get into, again, we just got a little bit more longer here and then we'll be out of here, is that Whitten Woods versus Springfield game. Right, Springfield coming down to Whitten Woods, talking about some blue blood programs for the 2nd consecutive year playing each other. Remember, Whitten Woods dominated defensively last year in that first matchup. It was 16-6. Springfield went to 4 consecutive state championship games for Springfield, and obviously that finally came to an end last year. But head coach Mo Douglas, right, Brandon, he does such a good job up there at Springfield. I mean, the talent there is always excellent. Whitten Woods and Springfield, really looking forward to this one. I think one of the better matchups just in terms of quality of coaching and talent. Really looking forward to this game.
Yeah, you got Mo Douglas at Springfield. You got Chad Murphy at Whitten Woods. And, they really get the best out of their kids. They have great talent, and they really push their kids to the maximum to get everything they want out of them, man. If you want speed, if you want electricity and electric plays, this is the game you want to check out. Springfield coming down here to Whitten Woods. And also, if you want tough defenses, because these are 2 programs that are all around programs. They get it done on both sides of the ball, and that's why they've had a lot of success. I believe Whitten Woods 2 years removed from a state title, if I recall, the year before last. And of course,
it was 2022. It was 2022.
Oh, okay. Didn't seem like that long ago. Wow.
Right.
And of course, Springfield, been there several times in a row before last year. So very, very high level game. Toss up, I would take the home team Woods in this pretty long travel, over an hour or so. So maybe that will, have the Wildcats a little sluggish out there.
Absolutely. And again, there's so many more games to get to. Head to TriStateFootball.com. You can see all the matchups there. Again, the Blitz 5 top 25 is on there. Brandon's best bets are on there. And we're going to have more content dropping as we get closer to kickoff. And Brandon, before we get out of here, any last minute thoughts, right? It's week 1. Football is back, right? We're feeling good at this time of the year. And everybody's excited, right? Every team is 0-0. Every team, whatever happens, every team's excited. And everybody's ready to get the season going.
Well, yeah, everybody wants to win every game. And in week 1, every team still has that ability to win every game. So everybody is amped up and ready to go to chase those championship aspirations, whether it's a league championship to regional championship to a state championship. So very exciting time here in week 1. And I'm ready to get the ball rolling, man. Let's kick it off.
Absolutely. Football is back. Week 1 kickoff, again, just 48 hours away, and the whole team is excited. All right, we are going to get out of here. If you missed any of the podcast, feel free to search up the TriStateFootball.com podcast. You can find it wherever you get your podcast. For Safwan, Alvi, Brandon Lampley, always appreciate talking to you, my man. We will see you guys next week. We appreciate you joining us on the TSF GamePlan Show.